I wish I could marry someone like you. Human whispered the alien princess part. 5 Kate fell to her knees on the floor of the human base. The portal closed behind her, cutting off her view of Lyra and Vesper. She screamed, reaching out as if she could reopen it by force, but it was gone. A terrible emptiness filled her mind where the connection to Vesper had been. Around her chaos reigned, as the freed captives were helped by medical teams. Diane was there being checked by a doctor, her eyes never leaving her sister Kate. Lieutenant Colonel Wells' voice cut through her grief. "Get up, we need to evacuate." The woman helped Kate to her feet. What happened to the princess and the dragon? Kate could barely speak. They stayed. She managed to say Thorn activated the self-destruct. Lyra is trying to stop it. The colonel nodded grimly. "Everyone to the upper level," she ordered. "All personnel move now." They rushed through the base, moving upward toward the surface. Kate held her sister's hand, pulling her along. They reached the main doors leading outside. Kate had not seen the sky in weeks. The purple haze that had covered Earth since the war began had lightened somewhat. The air was clearer. They gathered on a hill overlooking the ruined city below. Then the entrance to the underground base stood open, people still streaming out. Kate looked up at the night sky, searching for what she did not know. A sign. A miracle. It came minutes later. A flash of light so bright it turned night to day. For one heartbeat. Everyone stood frozen, watching as a new star seemed to bloom in the darkness. Then the shockwave hit. A rumble that shook the ground under their feet, the heat of it washing over them even from millions of miles away. The mothership was gone. Lyra was gone. Vesper was gone. Kate felt tears on her face. She opened her hand and found what Lyra had pressed into it. A single scale from Vesper. It was small, the size of a coin, probably from when they first met when he was still small, shimmered with inner light, changing colors as she watched: blue, purple, green, gold. It felt warm against her skin. "She is gone," Kate whispered. "Maybe," Dr. Chen said softly, appearing beside her. The scientist looked at the scale in Kate's hand, then up at the sky where the explosion was still visible. "May I?" she asked, holding out her hand. Kate hesitated, then placed the scale in Dr. Chen's palm. The scientist examined it, her eyes widening. "The scale is still active," she said. "It still contains energy." She looked at Kate with wonder. "This connection you had with Vesper, it might not be completely severed." Kate dared not hope. "What do you mean?" Dr. Chen held the scale up to the light of the fading explosion. "It seems to be responding to something," she said. She pulled out a small device from her pocket and scanned the scale. "The readings are off the charts," she said. "The energy is shifting, changing as if." Before she could finish, the scale began to glow brighter. Kate took it back from Dr. Chen. The warmth of it spread up her arm, filling her with a familiar sensation. Vesper, she thought, reaching out with her mind as she had done before when they were connected. The scale pulsed in response. "They are alive," Kate said, her voice filled with awe. She turned to Dr. Chen. "We need to find them." In the days that followed, as humanity began to rebuild with the Sylvani technology they had acquired, Kate worked tirelessly with Dr. Chen. The scale became their focus. It continued to pulse with energy, sometimes dimming, sometimes brightening, as if trying to communicate. The connection was weak but undeniable. The war was over. The virus had worked. The terraforming ships had shut down across Earth. The alien forces had retreated. There were still Sylvani in the solar system, but without Prince Thorn to lead them, they were disorganized. Some had even reached out for peace talks. The humans approached these with caution, but hope. Kate found her sister Diane adjusting well to freedom. The nightmares came less frequently. Now they had much to catch up on, years of separation to heal. Kate told her about Lyra and Vesper, about the strange bond that had formed between them. Diane listened without judgment. "You loved her?" she said one night, as they sat watching the stars. Kate looked at her sister, startled. "I never said you didn't have to," Diane replied with a small smile. "I can see it when you talk about her. When you look at that scale." She took Kate's hand. I hope you find her. 2 weeks after the explosion, Dr. Chen burst into Kate's quarters holding a device that beeped rapidly, Lieutenant. She said breathlessly, I figured it out. The scale it contains coordinates. Kate sat up. Her room was small, but private. A privilege granted to her as the hero of what people were calling the mothership mission. The scale sat on a small stand beside her bed, glowing softly in the darkness. Coordinates, she repeated. Where Dr. Chen showed her the device. Not where she said excitedly, when the scale is showing us a time and place. It's like a beacon. She looked at Kate with bright eyes. I think they escaped before the explosion. They used Vesper's ability to create a portal, but something went wrong. They ended up somewhere else. Somewhere else, Kate echoed. Another planet, Dr. Chen shook her. Head another star system. The readings suggest a place far beyond our solar system. She smiled. It matches a star system we discovered years ago, but never explored. No one thought it was important. Just another distant sun with planets. But this, she held up the device. This says otherwise. Hope bloomed in Kate's chest stronger than before. They were alive somewhere out there. Lyra and Vesper were waiting. Within days, Kate presented the findings to Colonel Wells. Now, General Wells. The woman listened, carefully, then nodded. I expected something like this. She said, we recovered Sylvani technology from the scout ship we shot down. Research teams have been studying it. We think we can modify it. She looked at Kate. We have plans to build our own ships. Lieutenant, now that the war is over, now that we have their technology. She smiled faintly. We are going to the stars 1 month later. Kate stood in a large hangar, looking up at the ship that would carry her and a small crew into deep space. It was not large, just big enough for 6 people and supplies. The hull gleamed with a mixture of human and Sylvani technology. Dr. Chen had named it Pioneer. Kate thought it looked beautiful. The first true human starship? Diane stood beside her. Are you sure about this? She asked, her voice worried. You might not come back. Kate held the scale in her hand. It pulsed stronger now, as if excited. I have to try. She said, I can feel them. Diane, they are out there waiting. She looked at her sister. Will, you be all right? Diane nodded. I survived the Sylvani, she said with a small smile. I can survive without my big sister for a while. She hugged Kate tight. Just come back someday, she whispered. Bring them both back. The crew was small, but skilled. Dr. Chen, of course, Lieutenant Foster, who had helped upload the virus on the mothership, Sergeant Reyes, whose engineering skills would be vital for the long journey, and a young pilot named Laura Kim, who had trained on simulator versions of Sylvani ships. Kate would command the mission as they prepared for launch. Kate stood on the bridge looking out at the stars. Vesper's scale hung around her neck on a chain, glowing brighter than ever. The coordinates were set. The engines hummed with power that humans had never controlled before. This was a leap into the unknown. A journey beyond anything humanity had attempted. General Wells' voice came over the communication system. Pioneer, you are cleared for launch. May God go with you. Lieutenant Lawson. Kate touched the scale at her neck, feeling its warmth, the connection it represented. Somewhere out there were Lyra and Vesper waiting. She thought of the princess words whispered in a moment of parting. I wish I could marry someone like you. Human. We are coming. Kate thought, knowing somehow that Lyra would feel it across the vast distances between them. Wait for us. The ship rose from Earth, moving faster than any human vessel before it. The stars beckoned. The journey had begun. And somewhere in a distant star system, Princess Lyra stood on an alien shore, Vesper now massive and majestic beside her. The dragon raised his head to the sky as if hearing a distant call. Lyra felt it too, a tug on her heart, a connection thought broken now reawakening. She looked up at the unfamiliar stars of this new world. They had escaped with seconds to spare Vesper's portal, taking them far beyond where they had intended, but they were alive. And now they were no longer alone. She is coming. Lyra said to Vesper. The dragon rumbled in agreement, his scales shifting to show images of stars of paths between worlds of a human woman with determined eyes. Lyra smiled a rare, full smile. She will find us, she said. And then perhaps in this new world, this new life. She did not finish the thought. She did not need to. Vesper knew her heart knew. They would wait together under alien stars. And someday soon they would no longer be waiting. For the thing about humans that Lyra had learned to admire most was this. They never gave up. They always found a way, and Kate Lawson, most of all, the war was over. A new journey had begun. I wish I could marry someone like you. Human whispered the alien princess part. For the morning of the mission came too quickly. Kate stood in the equipment room checking her weapon for the 5th time. The other team members were doing the same. No one spoke. The weight of their task hung heavy in the air. Lieutenant Amy Foster checked the small device that held the virus Dr. Chen had created. Sergeant Vanessa Reyes adjusted her armor. Corporal Tina Burke and Private Haley Winters, the youngest of them all, stood ready, their faces showing a mix of fear and determination. Kate looked at them all. These women were the best the Resistance had. Their mission might save humanity, or they might never return. She took a deep breath. Are we ready? She asked. They nodded. Lyra entered the room with Vesper. The dragon had grown again overnight. He now stood as tall as Kate's waist. His wings fully formed his body, covered in scales that seemed to contain galaxies within them. The sight of him made them soldiers step back in awe. Vesper is ready, Lyra said. She wore a modified version of human combat gear. The Sylvani princess looked strange in earth clothes, but she had insisted on blending in as much as possible. Her silver hair was tied back, her changing eyes now a focused gold color. They moved to the launch area, a large empty space that had been cleared for their departure. Colonel Wells was there with Major Grant and several other officers. The colonel approached Kate. Bring our people home, Lieutenant, she said. Her voice was steady, but Kate could see the worry in her eyes. If this works, she continued, we might finally have a chance to end this. War. Kate saluted. We will not fail, she promised. Lyra knelt beside Vesper, speaking to him. In their language, the dragon listened, his golden eyes fixed on her. Then he moved to the center of the room. His scales began to glow brighter. The air in front of him shimmered, twisted, and then split open. A portal formed larger than any he had created before. Through it, they could see a corridor made of the strange living metal of Sylvani ships. Now, Lyra said urgently. This passage should be empty for the next few minutes. Kate nodded to her team. They moved forward, weapons ready, and stepped through the portal. The sensation was strange, like walking through a curtain of static electricity. Kate felt her skin tingle, her hair stand on end. Then she was through. Standing in an alien ship, billions of miles from Earth. Her team followed then, Lyra and finally Vesper. The portal closed behind them with a soft sound. They were in the mothership. Kate took a moment to orient herself. The corridor was just as Vesper had shown them in his visions, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The walls seemed to pulse with life-shifting colors flowing like water. The floor beneath their boots was firm but somehow responsive. Kate had the unsettling feeling that the ship was aware of them. This way, Lyra whispered. She moved ahead of them with confident steps, Vesper at her side. The dragon was alert, his head turning at every sound, his scales dimmed to a dark blue to avoid detection. The human soldiers followed, keeping formation weapons ready. They moved through the ship following Lyra's lead. The corridors seemed to shift and change direction. Kate would have been hopelessly lost without the princess to guide them. They passed gardens filled with plants, unlike any on Earth. Some seemed to move following their passage. Others whispered, in voices too quiet to understand. The beauty of it all was overwhelming. Kate could see why the Sylvani thought themselves superior. Their world, their technology was like magic compared to human achievements. They had to hide twice as Sylvani guards. past pressing into alcoves holding their breath as the tall, elegant aliens walked by. Lyra explained through whispers that the ship was lightly staffed. Most of the Sylvani were preparing for the terraforming on other vessels. Finally, they reached a large door. It was made of the same living metal but decorated with symbols Kate did not recognize. Lyra placed her hand on it and closed her eyes. The door recognized her royal blood and slid open. Beyond it lay a vast chamber, the command hub of the mothership. The ceiling arched high above them, dotted with lights like stars. The walls were covered in flowing displays of information Kate could not understand. The room was empty of Sylvani, but that was not what made the team stop and shock along. The walls in transparent pods floated human bodies, hundreds of them men, women, even children. Their eyes closed as if sleeping tubes and wires connected to their bodies, monitoring, controlling, keeping them alive for whatever horrible experiments. Prince Thorn had planned. Kate moved closer to one of the pods. Her heart nearly stopped as she recognized the face inside Diane, her sister who had disappeared during the first Sylvani attack 3 years ago. Kate had thought her dead had mourned. Now here she was alive but trapped. Kate turned to Lyra, her eyes filled with questions. The princess looked pained. "I did not know," she said softly. "I knew there were humans here, but not who they were." She stepped closer, putting a hand on Kate's arm. "I am sorry." Before Kate could respond, Dr. Chen called from across the room. "I found the main terminal," she said. Her voice was hushed but urgent. "We need to move quickly." Kate forced herself to focus. The mission came first. They would free the captives, including her sister. But first they had to stop the terraforming. Lieutenant Foster and Sergeant Reyes take position by the door. She ordered watch for guards. The others followed Kate to where Dr. Chen was working. The terminal was unlike any human. Computer A, flowing surface of light and color. Dr. Chen looked lost, but Lyra stepped forward, placing her hands on the surface. The terminal responded to her touch, coming fully to life. Images and symbols flowing faster. "I can access the system," she said, "but I need time." Kate nodded. "You have 5 minutes," she said, then turned to the pods. "We need to figure out how to release these people." Dr. Chen joined Lyra at the terminal, working to upload the virus, while also trying to understand the stasis pod controls. Vesper moved around the room, his senses alert. The dragon had grown even more since arriving on the ship. As if being here triggered something in him, his scales now shifted between deep space black and brilliant star white. Kate moved to her sister's pod. Diane looked peaceful, as if in a deep sleep. Kate placed her hand on the transparent surface. "I found you," she whispered. "I will get you out." A sound at the entrance made them all freeze. A door on the far side of the command hub was opening. Kate signaled her team to take cover. They crouched behind terminals and equipment. Lyra and Dr. Chen continued working frantically, knowing they had no time to hide. A tall figure entered the room alone. His resemblance to Lyra was unmistakable, the same perfect features, the same silver hair. But where her eyes changed colors with her emotions, his were fixed, a cold emptiness like space itself. Prince Thorn had arrived. He stopped when he saw Lyra, his face showing first surprise, then a cruel smile. "Sister," he said, his voice dripping with contempt. "You always did have a weakness for lesser beings." Lyra straightened, facing her brother. "I wondered when you would find us," she said. Her voice was calm, but Kate could feel her fear through their connection. She stepped away from the terminal, hoping he hadn't noticed what she was doing. Thorn walked further into the room, his eyes taking in everything. "You think I did not know you were coming?" he asked. "I have been tracking that abomination." His gaze fixed on Vesper, who growled low in his throat. The dragon had grown again, now the size of a horse, his wings extended, his body crackling with energy. "I should thank you," Thorn continued, "for bringing the last Nexus dragon right to me. Once I extract its essence, my terraforming technology will be perfect. Earth will be transformed in days, not weeks. The humans," his eyes swept the room as if he knew the soldiers were hiding, "will be nothing but a memory. Lyra moved to stand between her brother and Vesper. "These humans are not lesser beings," she declared. "They have shown me more compassion than our kind has in centuries. The war you started was based on lies." Thorn laughed a sound without joy. "You sound like Mother," he said. She too had a fondness for these creatures. "It got her killed." Lyra gasped. "You?" she whispered. "You killed her." Before Thorn could respond, Kate gave the signal. Her team emerged from hiding weapons aimed at the prince. Foster moved toward the terminal to help Dr. Chen finish uploading the virus. Thorn did not seem concerned by the weapons pointed at him. "You cannot harm me with those primitive tools," he said. He raised his hand, and a wave of energy pulsed from him, knocking the soldiers back. Kate felt the air leave her lungs as she hit the wall. Her weapon flew from her grip. Lyra cried out and rushed at her brother. The siblings collided in a flash of light. Their fight was unlike anything Kate had seen before. Not just physical, but mental waves of energy flowed around them as they battled. The air itself seemed to bend and crack with the force of their powers. Kate struggled to her feet. She had to help Dr. Chen finish the upload. She had to free the captives. She had to help Lyra. She moved toward the terminal, where Foster and Chen were working. Almost there. Dr. Chen set her fingers flying over the alien surface. Just a few more seconds, Thorn saw what they were doing. He threw Lyra aside with a blast of energy and turned toward the humans. "No," he roared. "You will not ruin my work." Vesper moved faster than Kate thought possible. The dragon leapt between Thorn and the humans, his body now massive, his scales blazing with light. He opened his mouth and released a beam of pure energy directly at the prince. Thorn blocked it with a shield of his own power. The two forces met in the middle of the room, creating a shockwave that shook the entire chamber. Now Kate shouted to Dr. Chen. The scientist hit the final sequence. "I wish I could marry someone like you." Human whispered the alien princess part. Three days passed since the Sylvani scout ship appeared. The humans had shot it down before it could report back to the main fleet. Kate watched as Dr. Chen ran another test on Vesper. The dragon sat patiently on the lab table, his scales shifting between shades of blue and green. He had grown noticeably larger since they arrived at the base. Now the size of a large dog, he moved with more confidence. His wound had healed completely, leaving no scar. Lyra stood nearby, watching with pride. "He likes the attention," she said to Kate. Nodded. She had been assigned full-time to guard the princess and her dragon. She found herself looking forward to these duties more than she wanted to admit. There was something fascinating about Lyra. Her grace, her strange eyes that changed color with her mood, the way she spoke about Earth with genuine admiration. Remarkable. Dr. Chen said, looking at her instruments, "The energy readings from Vesper are off the charts." She looked up at Lyra. "You said he was a Nexus dragon. What exactly does that mean?" "Vesper is not just a pet," Lyra explained. "He is a living conduit for cosmic energy. My ancestors discovered Nexus dragons thousands of years ago when they first began to explore space. The dragons helped us build our civilization. Their ability to channel and transform energy made our technology possible." She stroked Vesper's head. "We thought they had all died out centuries ago, but my mother, the queen, had kept Vesper secret from everyone, even my brother. He was the last egg from the royal collection. She gave him to me before she died." Dr. Chen looked at her readings again. "If he can channel energy, can he help us defend against your people's weapons?" she asked. Lyra nodded. "He can do more than that. He can help you disable them." The door opened, and Major Grant entered with Colonel Susan Wells, the base commander. The colonel was a tall woman, with short gray hair and eyes that had seen too much war. She looked at Vesper with suspicion, then at Lyra. "Dr. Chen tells me your dragon might be useful to us," she said. Her voice was rough, but not unkind. She had been more open to the alien's presence than Major Grant. "Show me." Lyra nodded. To Vesper. The dragon stood up, his scales began to glow brighter. To everyone's amazement, a small hole appeared in the air in front of him, a portal that seemed to bend light around its edges. Through it, they could see what looked like another room. Wormhole portal. Dr. Chen gasped. Vesper can create temporary bridges between spaces, Lyra explained. Not large ones yet. He is still young. But with practice, he will be able to move people, objects, even ships through space. The colonel looked impressed, despite herself. How does this help us? She asked. We can use this ability to infiltrate my brother's mothership, Lyra said. The humans in the room went silent. She continued. He keeps the control systems for the terraforming technology there. If we can access it, we can plant a virus that will disable it. The colonel shook her head. It's too dangerous, she said. We would never make it past their defenses. Vesper made a chirping sound and the portal changed. Now they could see what appeared to be a Sylvani ship. The interior was beautiful but strange, with walls that seemed alive somehow, flowing and changing. Creatures moved through the corridors, tall and graceful like Lyra. He can show us the layout, Lyra explained. He has been there before with me. He knows the paths, the guard rotations, everything. Kate stepped forward. This could work, she said. If we send a small team, just a few people, we might have a chance. Major Grant looked at her with disapproval, but Kate continued. We have no other options. The terraforming will begin soon, according to Princess Lyra. We need to act. The colonel considered this for a long moment. Then she nodded. I will need to discuss this with the War Council, she said. But start planning. Lieutenant Lawson, I want a full mission proposal by tomorrow. She turned to leave, then stopped and looked back at Lyra. If this is a trap, she said, if you betray us, we will make sure you and your dragon die first. After the colonel and major left, Dr. Chen returned to her tests. Kate watched as Vesper created more portals showing different parts of the Sylvani ship. The dragon seemed to enjoy showing off his abilities, making the portals larger. Each time, Lyra approached Kate. There is something you should know about Nexus dragons, she said quietly. Her voice was serious. She led Kate to the corner of the room away from Dr. Chen. Vesper watched them, his eyes never leaving Kate. The bond Vesper has formed with you, she continued. It is not just friendship. It is deeper than that. When a Nexus dragon connects with someone, they share energy, life force, emotions. She looked into Kate's eyes. I can feel it too. Through him. Part of me is now connected to you. I feel what you feel. Kate felt her heart beat faster. What does that mean? She asked. Her voice sounded strange to her own ears. It means we are linked, Lyra said. We will know if the other is in danger, in pain, or... She paused, her eyes turning a deep purple shade. She did not finish the sentence. Dr. Chen called them back to the table. She had more tests to run. Kate tried to focus on the mission planning, but her mind kept returning to what Lyra had said. They were connected somehow, through Vesper, through some alien magic or science. Kate didn't understand. She should be afraid, disgusted even. But she wasn't. That was what troubled her most. Later that evening, Kate found Lyra alone in her room. Vesper was with Dr. Chen for more tests. Kate had come to discuss the mission plan, but the words died in her throat when she saw Lyra standing by the small window that looked out into the underground cavern. The princess seemed sad, her eyes a deep blue color that Kate had come to recognize as melancholy. Are you all right? Kate asked. Lyra turned. I was thinking of home, she said. Of my mother. She would be ashamed of what we have become, what my brother has done. She looked at Kate. I never thought I would find myself fighting against my own people, allying with humans. She smiled slightly. Life is strange. Is it not? Kate nodded. I never thought I would be friends with a Sylvani, she admitted. The word friends felt inadequate somehow, but she didn't know what other word to use. Friends, Lyra repeated the word, as if tasting it. Is that what we are? Kate Lawson, before Kate could answer. The door opened again and Dr. Chen rushed in. Her face was pale with shock. "Lieutenant," she gasped, "you need to see this." They followed her back to the lab. Vesper was there, but he looked different. His scales were changing, not just color, but texture. His body seemed to be growing before their eyes. "What is happening to him?" Lyra asked, alarmed. Dr. Chen pointed to her instruments. "The prolonged exposure to Earth's atmosphere seems to be causing changes in his biological makeup," she explained. "It's like he's evolving, adapting." Vesper looked at them. His eyes still the same intelligent golden color. He made a sound that was almost like laughter. Kate felt a wave of emotions that were not her own: excitement, pride, determination. They flowed into her mind from the dragon. "He is not afraid," Kate said. "He wants this to happen." Lyra touched Vesper gently, her fingers tracing the new patterns in his scales. "He is becoming something new," she whispered. "Something neither of our worlds has seen before." She looked at Kate with wonder. "I believe this may be why my mother saved his egg, why she gave him to me." She knew Dr. Chen was taking readings frantically. These changes could affect his abilities. She said, "We need to delay the mission until we understand." "No," Lyra said firmly. "We cannot wait. My brother will not wait." She looked at Kate. "The changes in Vesper make him stronger. This is good for the mission." Kate nodded. "Then we proceed as planned," she said. "We leave in 2 days." As they prepared for the mission, over the next 48 hours, Vesper continued to change. He grew larger, his wings more defined, his ability to create portals increased. He could now make them large enough for a person to step through. The strike team was chosen. 5 humans, including Kate. The best soldiers the Resistance had, plus Dr. Chen, who would handle the technical aspects of the virus. They would be accompanied by Lyra and Vesper. The plan was simple. Use Vesper's portals to enter the mothership plant, the virus in the main system, and escape before anyone knew they were there. The night before the mission, Kate could not sleep. She walked the halls of the base until she found herself outside Lyra's door. She knocked softly. The princess opened the door. She wore a simple, human robe, her silver hair loose around her shoulders. Her eyes were a color Kate had never seen before, a mix of gold and green. "I could feel your restlessness," she said, stepping aside to let Kate in through Vesper. She gestured to the dragon, who lay curled on the bed. He was now the size of a small horse, his scales a deep midnight blue with flecks of light like stars. Kate sat on the edge of the bed. Vesper moved his large head to rest near her hand. She stroked his scales, finding comfort in the warmth of them. "Are you afraid for tomorrow?" Lyra asked, sitting beside her. Kate nodded a little, she admitted, "but not of dying. I have faced that before." She looked at Lyra. "I'm afraid of failing. The terraforming would kill everyone. Billions of people." Lyra was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Something has been troubling me. I must tell you." She took a deep breath. "My brother has been experimenting on humans. We found evidence in the data I stole. He has hundreds, perhaps thousands of your people in stasis pods on the mothership." Kate felt sick. "What is he doing to them?" "Testing reactions to the terraforming process." Lyra said, her voice tight with anger, "Trying to find ways to make it more efficient." She looked at Kate. "If we succeed tomorrow, we can free them." Kate nodded, her determination growing. They would succeed. They had to. There was too much at stake. She looked at Lyra and found the princess watching her with those strange gold-green eyes. "I wish I could marry someone like you." Human, whispered the alien princess part. The underground human base was not built for comfort. The walls were plain metal and concrete. The air smelled of machines and too many people living close together. "Princess." Lyra stood in the center of a room with no windows. 5 human guards watched her, their weapons ready. Major Olivia Grant paced in front of the alien visitor, her face showing no trust. "Where is the dragon creature?" Major Grant asked. "Being treated by our medical team," Kate said. She stood near the door, feeling strangely protective of both aliens, though she had only met them hours ago. "I want it brought here now." Major Grant ordered. Her voice was hard from years of fighting the Sylvani. She had lost her husband and son in the first attacks. Lyra spoke, her musical voice filling the room. The humans all tensed. Vesper needs care. His wounds are serious. He means no harm to anyone here. I give you my word. Your word means nothing here. Alien Major, Grant said. We have lost millions to your kind. Your word is worth less than dirt. Kate watched as something like sadness passed over Lyra's perfect face. The princess did not argue, but simply nodded. I understand your anger, she said. It is justified. My people have caused great suffering, but I am not here as your enemy. I am here to help end this war. A soldier entered the room and whispered something to Major Grant. The major frowned, then looked at Lyra. Your pet is causing quite a stir in our medical bay. It seems it can communicate with our scientists. They want you to come help calm it down. Lyra nodded. I warned your people that Vesper is intelligent. He is frightened and in pain. He needs me nearby. Major Grant motioned to the guards. Take her to medical bay, she ordered, but watch her every move. She turned to Kate, Lieutenant Lawson. You found them, so you are responsible for them. Do not let them out of your sight. Kate followed as the guards led Lyra through the underground hallways. People stopped to stare at the Sylvani princess. Some looked afraid, others angry. Many had lost loved ones to the aliens. Kate could feel their hate following them like a shadow. The medical bay was a large room with beds and equipment. Some held injured soldiers. Kate felt a pang of guilt for bringing aliens here among her wounded friends, but she pushed the feeling away. This was bigger than old hatred. This was about survival. In a separate room they found Vesper. The small dragon was on a metal table, his scales shifting colors rapidly from blue to red to black. A woman in a white coat stood nearby, looking excited rather than afraid. This was Dr. Melody Chen, the base's chief scientist, and the only person who seemed happy about their alien visitors. He is remarkable, Dr. Chen said as they entered. Her eyes were wide with wonder. The dragon looked at Lyra and made a happy chirping sound. His scales immediately settled into a calm blue color. The princess moved to his side and stroked his head gently. What have you learned? Lyra asked. Dr. Chen looked at her notes. More than I expected, she said. His scales contain properties I have never seen before. They seem to absorb and redirect energy, including the quantum radiation from your people's weapons. This could be the key to defending against your technology. Lyra nodded as if this was not news to her. That is part of why I brought him, she said. Vesper is special, even among his kind. Kate stepped closer. What kind is that exactly? She asked. Is he some sort of weapon? Lyra looked at Kate with eyes that had turned a deep purple. No, Vesper is a Nexus dragon, the last of his kind. His species once helped my people build our civilization before we forgot our partnership with them and began to see them as pets or tools. She stroked the dragon's head and he made a purring sound. They are born with the ability to channel cosmic energy, the same energy my people use for our technology. Dr. Chen was taking notes rapidly. Can he help us understand how to counter your quantum weapons? She asked. He can do more than that, Lyra said. But first I must speak with your leaders. I have information about my brother's plans. Plans that will mean the end of all human life on Earth if we do not stop him. Major Grant, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. You will tell us everything first, she said. Then we decide if your leaders need to hear it. For the next 2 hours. Lyra explained about Prince Thorn and his plan to terraform Earth. The process would change the planet at its core, making it perfect for Sylvani, but impossible for humans to survive. She described the massive ships being built, the weapons being prepared. She showed them images that Vesper could somehow project from his eyes onto the wall of the room. The humans watched in silence as they saw their doom taking shape. When she finished, Major Grant left the room without a word. Kate stayed with Dr. Chen and the aliens. The scientist was examining Vesper's scales with gentle hands. I believe her, Kate said quietly to Dr. Chen. Do you? The doctor nodded. The science behind what she describes matches what we've been observing. she said. And the dragon. She looked at Vesper with wonder. I have never seen anything like him. The tests confirm he is generating energy. We can't even measure properly. His cells are unlike anything on Earth. She paused. Then she added, he seems to have formed a connection with you. Lieutenant Lawson Kate looked surprised. What do you mean? Dr. Chen gestured to her instruments. When you entered the room, his brainwaves changed. They seemed to synchronize with yours. Somehow. Kate looked at Lyra, who was watching this conversation with interest. The princess nodded. It is rare, she said. But sometimes Nexus dragons form bonds with beings outside our race. It has not happened in many generations, but Vesper seems drawn to you. The dragon looked at Kate, and she felt that strange pull in her mind again, like someone tugging gently on her thoughts. What does it mean? Kate asked. It means he trusts you, Lyra said. And so must I later. That night. Kate was assigned to guard Lyra in the small room they had given her. The princess sat on the edge of the bed, Vesper curled beside her. The dragon was healing quickly, his wound already closed. Your species fascinates me, Lyra said, breaking the silence. You are so fragile compared to us, your lives so short, your bodies so easily broken, and yet you fight with such determination. My brother sees only your weakness, but I see your strength. Kate leaned against the wall, her hand never far from her weapon. Why did you really come here? She asked. There must be others in your government who oppose your brother. Why risk everything to warn us? Lyra was quiet for a long moment. I saw a human family once. She finally said, a mother, father, and small child. They were hiding in a building during one of our attacks. The building was hit. The parents covered their child with their own bodies. They died, but the child lived. She looked up at Kate. I had never seen such sacrifice, such love. We Sylvani live for thousands of your years. We value our lives above all else. We would never die for another. She stroked Vesper's scales. I began to question everything after that. I watched humans more closely. I saw your art, your music, your kindness to each other. Even in war, even in suffering, you find beauty. You find hope. Kate felt something strange in her chest. Not hate. Not the anger she had carried since the war began. Something else. Something she didn't want to examine too closely. The base's alarm suddenly blared to life. Red lights flashed in the hallway. Kate grabbed her weapon and opened the door. A soldier ran past. What's happening? Kate called Sylvani scout ship. The soldier shouted. They found us. Kate turned to Lyra, whose face had gone pale. They are looking for me, the princess said. My brother knows I took the plans. He has placed a bounty on me. She looked at Vesper. The dragon was now fully awake, his scales glowing bright blue. Lyra stroked his head. We cannot let them find us, she said to the dragon. They must not take us back. Kate made a quick decision. We need to move you. She said somewhere deeper in the base, follow me, as they hurried through the halls. With alarms blaring around them, Kate realized that in just one day everything had changed. An alien princess and her dragon had become their only hope, and somehow Kate Lawson had become their protector. The line between enemy and ally was no longer clear. The war had just become much more complicated. I wish I could marry someone like you. Human, whispered the alien princess. Part 1. Kate Lawson moved through the broken remains of Chicago. Her boots made soft sounds on the dusty ground as she walked alone. The war with the Sylvani had left little. Standing in the once great city, tall buildings now lay in pieces across the streets. Kate checked her wrist device. The rest of her team was nowhere to be seen. A strange gravity wave had hit them during their search mission. And now she was lost. Sky above had an odd purple color. Not the blue that Kate remembered from her childhood. The Sylvani weapons had changed Earth's air in ways the scientists still did not understand. Kate adjusted her breathing mask and kept moving. She needed to find higher ground to send a signal to base. A sound made Kate stop and crouch behind a fallen wall. It was not human, not a machine, but something alive. She pulled her weapon and waited. The sound came again, a sort of crying mixed with a hiss. Kate peeked over the wall and saw something she had never seen before. A small creature lay on its side, its body covered in scales that shined like jewels in many colors. It had small wings and a long tail. It looked like the dragons from old Earth stories, but it was real. The creature was hurt. Kate could see a wound on its side that leaked a glowing blue liquid against all her training. Kate felt herself step out from behind the wall. The creature saw her and made a noise that sounded almost like words. Kate froze, then gasped as she heard a voice inside her head. "Help me, please," the voice said inside her mind. The creature blinked large golden eyes at her. "I mean no harm." Kate almost dropped her gun in shock. The creature could speak to her mind. This was not in any of the reports about the Sylvani. She took another step closer, wanting to see this strange animal up close. "Stop right there." "Human," a new voice said. Kate spun around, her weapon ready. A tall figure stood in the shadows of a broken doorway. Kate could make out long pointed ears and a face too perfect to be human. The newcomer was female with skin that seemed to glow slightly. Her eyes changed colors as Kate watched, going from purple to blue to green. The woman wore a cloak over what looked like armor made of some strange metal Kate had never seen. "I am Princess Lyra of the Sylvani High Council," the woman said. Her voice was like music but filled with sadness. "That is Vesper, my companion. You should kill me where I stand, human, but I have come with knowledge that could save your world." Kate kept her weapon pointed at the alien woman Lyra, the small dragon creature. Vesper made a sad noise and tried to crawl toward the princess, but it was too weak. "The rules are clear," Kate said. "All Sylvani are to be captured or killed on sight." "You started this war, you killed millions of us, I know," said Lyra. "My people have much to answer for, but I am not here as your enemy. I am here because my brother Prince Thorn plans something worse than anything you have seen so far. I had to warn you." In the distance, alarms began to sound. Kate knew her team must be searching for her. She had to make a choice fast: follow her orders and take the alien princess prisoner, or listen to what might be the only chance to save Earth. "Why should I believe you?" Kate asked. The dragon made another noise, and Kate felt its pain in her own body somehow. She lowered her weapon slightly. "Because I have been watching your people," Lyra said. "I have seen your courage, your love for each other. Even as we destroy your cities, you still help one another. You still hope. You fight, not just to kill, but to protect. That is not what my brother told our people about humans. He said you were little more than animals. But I have seen the truth." Kate looked at the injured dragon, then back at the princess. The alarms grew louder. Her team would be here soon. "If I help your dragon, will you come with me peacefully to our base?" Kate asked. "I make no promises about what happens after that." Lyra nodded. "I expected nothing less," she said. "Thank you." Kate moved toward the small dragon slowly. It watched her with intelligent eyes. As she got closer, she could see how its scales changed color with each breath. The wound on its side looked bad, but the glowing blood was already starting to stop. "I can carry Vesper," Lyra said. Stepping forward, Kate raised her weapon again, and the princess stopped. "I meant no threat," she said. "I only wish to help my friend." "Fine," Kate said, "but walk in front of me." Lyra picked up the dragon with great care. The creature made a purring sound and curled against her chest. Its scales began to match the color of Lyra's armor, as if trying to hide. The sound of engines filled the air. A human transport ship appeared above them, hovering over the broken street. Kate waved her arms to signal them. The ship began to lower itself to the ground, dust and small rocks blowing around them. "This is your last chance to run," Kate said to the Princess. Lyra stood tall, her strange eyes fixed on Kate. "I did not come this far to run human," she said. "The fate of both our worlds may depend on what happens next." The ship landed, and armed soldiers rushed out, surrounding them. Their weapons all pointed at Lyra and the dragon. Kate stepped forward. "Hold your fire," she called. "I am bringing them in. Major Grant needs to hear what they have to say." The soldiers looked unsure, but they lowered their weapons slightly. Kate gestured for Lyra to walk toward the ship. The princess moved with grace even in this dangerous moment. The dragon Vesper watched everything with eyes that seemed too wise for an animal as they boarded the ship. Kate felt something strange, a sort of pulling in her mind. She looked at the dragon and could have sworn it smiled at her. Lyra, watch this with interest. He likes you, the princess said softly. That is rare. Vesper trusts few beings, even among my own kind. The ship doors closed and the engines roared to life. Kate sat across from Lyra and Vesper, keeping her weapon ready. The princess held the dragon close, whispering words in a language Kate did not know. The dragon was watching Kate, its golden eyes never blinking. You have no idea what you have just done. Human, Lyra said, looking up at Kate. You may have just saved your world, or perhaps doomed us all. Kate felt a chill despite the warm air in the ship. As they flew toward the hidden human base, she wondered if she had made the right choice. But something about the princess and her strange dragon made Kate believe this meeting was meant to happen. The war had just taken an unexpected turn, and Kate Lawson was now at the center of it all.